Have you ever been so angry, so fed up, that you came up with a plan so wild, it could have changed someone's life forever? This is the story of how my revenge almost killed a man. And trust me, it all started with something as small as a stolen lunch. 3 years ago, I was working in a massive factory. This place wasn't like a regular job. It was chaos. They hired people through 5 different temp services. So every single day felt like walking into a sea of strangers. People came, people left, faces changed so fast, you barely remembered names. Now imagine this, 12-hour shifts, 6 days in a row. By the time lunch rolled around, your stomach felt like it was eating itself. But in this factory, we had a thief. Someone was stealing lunches right out of the break room fridge. And guess who the victim was? Me. For an entire week, my lunches vanished. Day after day, I opened that fridge, only to find nothing. No sandwich. No leftovers. No relief. Just hunger and anger building up inside me. By the end of that week, I wasn't just hungry. I was furious. And that fury, it turned into something darker. I sat at home that night, staring at my kitchen counter, thinking of ways to make the thief regret everything. Then it hit me. The Carolina Reaper. For those of you who don't know, it's the hottest pepper on the planet. One bite can make your throat close up, your eyes water, and your whole body feel like it's on fire. I thought, perfect. That night, I made the best steak fajitas of my life. Juicy steak, caramelized onions, fresh tortillas. But the real star was the pico de gallo. I minced the Carolina Reapers into tiny little pieces, mixing them in so carefully. It looked beautiful, but it was deadly. I topped the fajitas, garnished with cilantro and lime, and sealed the container. The trap was set. The next morning, I walked into the break room and placed my masterpiece in the fridge. I didn't have to wait long. About an hour later, I heard it. A woman screaming, "Help! Somebody help!" I sprinted to the lunchroom. And there he was. The lunchbox bandit. Flat on the floor, gasping for air. His face was red, tears streaming down his cheeks. He couldn't breathe. The peppers triggered a full-blown asthma attack. People panicked. Someone called an ambulance. And just like that, he was rushed to the hospital. In that moment, I stood frozen. What had I done? This wasn't the funny prank I imagined. This wasn't sweet justice. This was life and death. When he came back to work, he never mentioned it. Not a single word. And neither did I. But every time I saw him, I knew. He knew. Before I continue, if you're still watching this story right now, hit that subscribe button. Because I've got plenty more wild, true stories to share with you, and you don't want to miss the next one. Looking back, I realized something. Revenge feels sweet in your head. You picture yourself as the hero, teaching someone a lesson. But when it plays out in real life, the consequences are never what you expect. I could have killed a man, over fajitas. Over lunch. And that thought still haunts me. So here's the truth. Revenge doesn't always give you closure. Sometimes, it just leaves you with more questions, more guilt, and more what-ifs. My revenge almost cost someone their life. And it definitely changed mine. What about you? Do you believe revenge is ever worth it? Let me know in the comments, I'll be reading every single one. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because sometimes the smallest stories hide the biggest lessons. Have you ever had someone in your life who was just pure evil? Someone who acts nice in front of everyone, but behind your back, they're plotting to take everything from you? Well, I did. And today, I'm going to tell you how I handled a mean girl who tried to ruin me. And trust me, this story gets petty, clever, and maybe even satisfying. But before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss any of these real-life revenge stories. So, I'm a junior in high school, and this girl, she's a senior, the definition of a mean girl. I used to think we were on the same team. We ran a club together, making crafts for cancer patients. A good cause, right? I thought it was amazing. I was the secretary, she was the vice president, and the president, well, they basically disappeared. We tried to keep the club alive, but for some reason, she started ignoring my help. I didn't get it at first. Then, I overheard one of her friends talking. Apparently, she wanted to replace the entire club board with her friends. It hurt, because I was doing all the work, researching, planning meetings, keeping the club going. And she just took the credit. Here's when it got worse. She took full control of all the club platforms, emails, social media, announcements. And at the end of the year, she announced the new club board. Guess what? Only her friend group made it. No one else, not even me. I went to the teacher who ran the club, our advisor. And nothing. She literally didn't care. So I was left with this girl openly being nasty to me. And the worst part? She was jealous. Jealous that I was ahead in classes even though I'm a year younger. Jealous that I was president of 2 other clubs. She started ignoring me completely. Standing in front of her? Pretending I wasn't even there. That's when I realized, it wasn't just about the club. It was about power and making me feel small. Now, normally, I'm a nice person. I don't do revenge. But after months of being walked over, I knew something had to change. Here's where I got clever. Instead of confronting her directly, I started documenting everything, every time she took credit, every sneaky move she made. I also subtly made my own presence felt, helping others, leading projects, quietly showing I was capable without being mean back. And here's a tip for anyone dealing with a mean girl: the best revenge isn't yelling or drama. It's showing everyone else your true value while she keeps acting fake. If you're enjoying this story, smash that subscribe button. I share real stories like this every week, and you won't want to miss the rest. Then came the fun part. Petty, but satisfying. I started small. I made sure my projects and contributions were visible to everyone else in the school, teachers, club members, even students she cared about impressing. I casually highlighted my achievements in ways she couldn't ignore. And most importantly, I let her arrogance do the work for me. The more she tried to control everything, the more she exposed herself as, well, mean and untrustworthy. It was petty, but it worked. People started noticing who was actually doing the work, who was genuinely kind, and who was just trying to be popular. So here's the takeaway: dealing with mean people doesn't always mean fighting fire with fire. Sometimes, the most satisfying revenge is being yourself and letting the truth shine. You don't need to stoop to their level. You just need patience, strategy, and a little bit of cleverness. And if you've ever been walked over by someone like this, I want to hear your story. Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more real stories about mean girls, clever revenge, and surviving high school drama. Being nice doesn't mean being weak. And being clever doesn't mean being cruel. Sometimes, the best revenge is just being better than they ever imagined. Thanks for watching, and remember, mean girls might try to steal your shine, but your light is yours alone. See you next time.